Nigeria is burning its food. It flares enough natural gas to power its continent, yet imports its own fertilizer. This is not an energy failure, it is a metabolic failure. For over 6 decades, the system was designed for one thing: to extract the crude oil and burn the gas as a waste product. Nigeria pumps the wealth. The world sells back the food grown from its own wasted energy. The question is not how to stop the flaring. The question is, how does Nigeria turn its most glaring liability into its most vital sovereign asset? There is a city in China that faced the same structural paradox. Its answer provides the alchemical blueprint. For 28 weeks, we've been inside the laboratories of Chinese urban strategy, reverse engineering their playbooks for turning constraint into command. Every principle is stress-tested in a specific Chinese city first. Last week in City 27, Jincheng, we saw how a mining city outlawed the export of its raw coal, forcing it through a local chemical refinery and transforming a commodity into a captive industrial kingdom. Jincheng proved that vertical sovereignty is not a theory, but a legislative act. And this week, the critical model comes from a city that refused to let its furnaces' exhaust go to waste. City 28, Panzhihua, Sichuan. Panzhihua was built on steel, but it refused to just make slag and pollution. It forced its blast furnaces' toxic waste heat and slag into greenhouses and vanadium batteries. The liability became the non-negotiable feedstock for a mirror industry. Panzhihua didn't just solve a waste problem. It engineered a symbiotic loop. This is the liability as asset principle. Nigeria's flared gas is Panzhihua's heat. The blueprint is to capture that gas not as a problem, but as the captive energy source for a sovereign fertilizer refinery. But to build this sovereign loop, Nigeria needs more than one principle. It needs an integrated metabolic stack. First, the Jincheng Mandate. Jincheng outlawed the export of raw coal, forcing it through a local chemical empire. Vertical sovereignty. Nigeria must enact the law. Flared gas is a strategic national asset. Its only legal destination is a Nigerian urea plant. Second, the Kotai Guarantee. Macau doesn't build casinos. It licenses them and collects perpetual royalties. Sovereign guarantee. Nigeria's NNPC must become the licenser, not the operator. Let private capital build the plants. The state owns the license and the permanent revenue stream. Third, the Yulin transition. Yulin used the final profits from its dying coal industry to finance its forced pivot to green hydrogen. Captive transition. Nigeria must create the oil-to-soil transition fund, using the last wealth of the oil era to buy equity in the food security era. Fourth, the Yingkou lock. Yingkou turned villagers into perpetual shareholders through an algorithmic land trust. Social stabilization. Nigeria must engineer the host community fertilizer trust for the Niger Delta, turn protest into dividend-yielding equity, make security a shareholder interest. Fifth, the Yancheng seal. Yancheng didn't just grow rice. It legislated a Yancheng rice standard that commands a premium, sovereign certification. Nigeria must issue the sovereign seed standard for its urea. A bag certifies gas captured. Community paid, crop targeted. This is the brand of a metabolic state. Sixth, the Yongzhou platform. Yongzhou built a global Mandarin empire by organizing villages into one village, one product. Monopolies, rooted production. Nigeria must launch one LGA, one champion crop. Prescribe the sovereign urea to specific regional food chains: rice, cassava, maize, and build the processing hubs around them. Seventh, the Wanzhou spark. After being drowned by the Three Gorges Dam, Wanzhou rebranded as the global grilled fish capital, turning silt into a sovereign story. Phoenix narrative. Nigeria's narrative is from flaring to feeding. The eternal flame is not a shame. It is the funeral pyre of the old economy and the ignition of the new. These 7 layers form a closed, self-reinforcing metabolic loop. This is the sovereign refinery. It transforms a thermodynamic liability into a governed platform of national survival. The outcome for Nigeria is not just cheaper fertilizer. It is the Nigeria Flare Gas Metabolic Protocol, a state that no longer burns its wealth but refines it into nourishment, stability, and sovereignty. The blueprint is decoded, the stack is designed. The countdown to a post-oil world is underway. All that remains is the sovereign will to light the refinery. Next week in City 29, Hsinchu, we decode the anchored ecosystem principle. How a science park captured the world's semiconductor giants, not with subsidies, but by creating a concentrated district of the mind where global firms must reside to access the brain trust, while the core intellectual property and advanced capabilities feed back into sovereign strategic control. From sovereign processes to sovereign metabolisms. Now, from sovereign metabolisms to sovereign intellect, City 29 is Hsinchu. The principle is the captive mind. For the full Nigeria Sovereign Refinery blueprint, check the link in the description. For institutions ready to move from insight to execution, the conversation begins with a standing intelligence mandate. Contact details are in the bio. This is China in 5. We decode the operating systems of sovereignty.